The most powerful bank on planet Earth just paid $175 million for 4 million people who never existed. The seller, a 28-year-old woman, the business press had crowned a genius. Forbes put her on a list of the future's brightest stars, and months before the deal, when her own engineer refused to help her lie, she told him a sentence in French that should have ended everything. Don't worry, I don't want to end up in an orange jumpsuit. Remember that jumpsuit, because by the end of this story, you'll find out something that almost nobody knows. Right now, at this very moment, she's free. This is the story of Charlie Javice, the startup called Frank, and the 4 million customers who never existed. To fool the smartest bank in the world, you first have to become a story it wants to believe. Charlie Javice built that story brilliantly. A graduate of Wharton, the same business school that produced Warren Buffett and Elon Musk. In 2016, she founded a startup with a genuinely noble mission, because here's the thing, the problem Frank attacked was real. Every year, millions of American families face a government financial aid form so long and so confusing, over 100 questions at the time, that huge numbers of families simply give up, and billions of dollars in college aid go unclaimed. Real money left on the table because of paperwork. Frank promised to fix it. Your student aid application, simplified, done in minutes instead of weeks. And understand, this wasn't snake oil. The product worked. Real families used it. Real students got real help. That's what makes this story so dangerous. The best frauds aren't built on nothing. They're built on something true, stretched until it snaps. The press fell in love, young, brilliant, changing the world, magazine features, conference stages, and in 2019, The Crown, Forbes puts her on its 30 under 30 list, finance, the same list that in those same years featured Sam Bankman-Fried and Elizabeth Holmes, Charlie Javice, the golden girl of fintech. There was just one problem hiding under all that gold, and it was the only number that would ever matter. Frank was small. Fewer than 300,000 people had actually signed up. A decent little website, not an empire. But in 2021, the biggest fish in American banking came circling. And to understand why, you need to know a dirty secret of the banking world. Giant banks are terrified of getting old. Their customers age. Their brands feel like your father's wallet. Every major bank on Wall Street was hunting the same prize, young Americans, and losing them to slick fintech apps. JPMorgan Chase wanted something it couldn't build fast enough, a pipeline to millions of students, kids who would one day need credit cards, car loans, mortgages. Capture them at 18, and you own a customer for 50 years. That hunger is the soil this fraud grew in. And run the buyer's math for a second. $175 million for 4 million users comes out to about $40 per student. For a bank, that's a bargain. But at the real number, under 300,000, the same deal means nearly $600 a head for users of a free website. Same price, two completely different realities. The entire deal only made sense if the lie was true. A desperate buyer doesn't inspect the goods too closely, and Frank claimed to have exactly that. In the negotiation, according to prosecutors, Javice told the bank her platform had over 4 million users. 4 million. The real number, remember, was under 300,000. She had inflated her company more than 10 times over. Now, a lie that size has a shelf life, because sooner or later the buyer asks the seller to prove it. And in the summer of 2021, during due diligence, JPMorgan asked for the list. And here, according to the bank's lawsuit, came a move of pure nerve. Frank initially pushed back on handing over its users' data, citing student privacy. The compromise? The list would go to a neutral third-party validator instead, which meant Javice didn't need to show the bank her users. She just needed a file good enough to fool a machine. The list. 4 million names that did not exist. So Javice walked over to her director of engineering, a man named Patrick Vovor, and according to his sworn testimony, asked him to generate the users synthetically. Fake names, fake emails, fake people, built by code. Vovor asked if this was legal, and then he did something that makes him the quiet hero of this entire story. He said no, his words under oath. "I told them I would not do anything illegal." She reassured him. He testified with a smile in French. "Don't worry, I don't want to end up in an orange jumpsuit. He still refused. Stop and feel the weight of that moment. One engineer, one no, standing between a lie and $175 million. So did the deal collapse? No. She found her yes in a math department. Adam Kapellner, a professor of statistics in New York. According to JPMorgan's lawsuit, Frank paid him $18,000 and he generated a synthetic list of more than 4 million fake identities. Names, birthdays, addresses, emails, an entire nation of ghosts, born in a spreadsheet in a matter of days. And here's the detail that shows you how deep this went. According to prosecutors, her deputy also quietly spent $105,000 buying millions of real student names from a marketing company, padding in case anyone looked closely. And here's the terrifying part, the part that should keep every investor awake. The fake list was sent through a third-party data validator, and it passed, because think about what a validator actually checks. Format, plausibility, clean rows. Its job was to confirm the data looked right. Not that the people were alive. Nobody's job in a $175 million deal. There was existence, over 4 million records checked by professionals whose entire job is spotting bad data, certified because the ghosts were well built. Realistic names, plausible birthdays, addresses that map to real streets, synthetic people engineered to survive inspection. On paper, 4 million souls. In reality, rows in a file. Sit with this number, $18,000 and became $175 million. That is a return of nearly 1 million % on a lie. September 2021, the deal closes, the press release goes out, handshakes, headlines, another young visionary acquired by Wall Street royalty, JPMorgan Chase, the bank whose entire reputation is built on due diligence.
As guardians of the financial system, we support our government and national security efforts to combat financial crimes.
Wires $175 million for Frank. Charlie Javice's personal payday, according to the SEC, over $21 million for her shares, plus a $20 million retention bonus to stay on as an executive. At 29 years old, she walks the halls of the most powerful bank on earth as a managing director, a star. Think about the audacity of that. She didn't take the money and run. She stayed inside the very institution she had just deceived, and on top of 4 million ghosts that could wake up any morning. The fraud is complete. The ghosts are sold. And no one, not the lawyers, not the bankers, not the auditors, has any idea. For 4 months, it is the perfect crime. And then someone in marketing did their job. January 2022. 4 months after the money moved, a JPMorgan marketing team decides to actually use what the bank paid for. A simple test, send an email to 400,000 of Frank's users. Welcome to Chase. Routine. Harmless. The results come back and someone stares at the screen. According to the bank's lawsuit, in only 28% of the emails were even delivered. The industry standard is 99. And of the few that arrived, the number of people who opened them, 1.1%, 400,000 emails, knocking on 400,000 doors, and behind the door, almost no one, because ghosts don't read email. That single marketing test, not a regulator, not an auditor, not a whistleblower, a routine email blast, detonated a $175 million fraud. The greatest banks on earth spend billions on security. And the lie died from a newsletter. Inside the bank, the question moves up the chain like a fire alarm. Where are our 4 million customers? Investigators pull the file apart row by row, and the trails behind the names lead nowhere. In December 2022, JPMorgan does something almost unthinkable. It sues the founder it had just celebrated, accusing her of inventing the users. Weeks later, the bank shuts Frank down completely. And on an earnings call in January 2023, Jamie Dimon, the most powerful banker in America, is asked about the deal. His answer in front of the entire financial world, and quote, a huge mistake. Wall Street's untouchable giant, admitting it, got played. But a lawsuit only takes your money. What came next takes your freedom. April 3rd, 2023, federal agents arrest Charlie Javice. The Justice Department and the SEC charge her with fraud. The same government that once smiled at her from magazine covers. Her defense? Bold and not entirely empty. JPMorgan knew what it was buying, her lawyers argued, and they pointed at a real event. Months after the deal, the government simplified the student aid form itself, quietly making Frank's product less valuable. The bank, they claimed, wasn't a victim of fraud. It was a buyer with regret, dressing up a bad deal as a crime. For nearly 2 years, that argument hangs in the air. Then, in February 2025, a Manhattan federal courtroom, 6 weeks of trial. Prosecutors walked the jury through it, piece by piece. The real user count, the request to fabricate the professor, the $18,000, the email test with its 1.1%, and on the courtroom screens, the spreadsheet itself, row after row of Americans who were never born. The defense fires back that the bank had every document and every opportunity to check, and then comes the witness the courtroom will remember. Patrick Vovor, the engineer who said no, takes the stand and tells 12 jurors under oath about the day his boss asked him to manufacture people, and about a joke in French about an orange jumpsuit. March 28th, 2025, guilty on every single count: securities fraud, wire fraud, bank fraud, conspiracy. The golden girl of fintech is now a convicted felon. September 29th, 2025, sentencing day. The courtroom she once entered as a genius, she now enters as a defendant. The sentence, 85 months in federal prison, just over 7 years. The judge orders her to forfeit $22 million and pay restitution of $287 million alongside her deputy, who gets 68 months of his own. And the story should end right there. Justice served, roll credits, except remember the orange jumpsuit, 85 months. And she hasn't spent a single one of them behind bars. Charlie Javice is free, out on a $2 million bail, while her lawyers fight the conviction in a federal appeals court. In March 2026, the trial judge refused to throw out her conviction. The appeal is still alive, and in June 2026, multiple outlets reported something even bolder. She is reportedly seeking a presidential pardon, and before you laugh at the idea, remember, in these very years, other convicted fraud founders have walked out of their sentences with a single signature. In this era, even a conviction is negotiable. Think about that arc. From Forbes 30 under 30 to guilty on all counts to a courtroom door that still hasn't closed. And while her lawyers fight, one question refuses to go away. How did the most sophisticated due diligence on Wall Street miss 4 million ghosts? The honest answer is the scariest one. Nobody missed anything. They just wanted the story more than they wanted the truth. And if the smartest money on earth can want to lie that badly, what makes anyone sure they'd spot the next one? Here's what remains when the gold wears off. An engineer proved that one honest no is worth more than every zero on a term sheet. And 4 million people who never existed taught the real ones something priceless. The biggest thing a fraudster builds is never the product, it's the belief. Somewhere right now, another perfect founder is walking into another boardroom with another perfect number. I'm Empire Decoded. The next empire is already being built.